All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Glorias Estates. We decided we want to switch things up a little bit. I know you're tired of me trying to always sell you beautiful items. Just kidding. But tonight I wanted to take kind of a different route and do a little diamond tutorial. We're just going to cover kind of the 4c's with a little bit of flair. This is not going to be a beginner course. It's not going to be an advanced course. It's kind of going to be right there in the middle, kind of an intermediary. And you know what? I think it's perfect for everybody. Now, I will tell you that I am not GIA certified. I am not certified by any major jewelry or diamond establishment anywhere in the world. All that I know is what I have personally learned through 20 years in the business, through dealing in hundreds, thousands, probably tens of thousands worth of diamonds, and learning from my mistakes of what I've done right, what I've done wrong, from everybody in the industry who's helped me. Thank you all so much. And I love to be able to pass that material, that education on to you. What I tell everybody, I said, is if you go to GIA, the Gemological Institute of America, and you get a full certification, it can cost upwards of $40,000 and take 2 years. Well, the problem is that means you have to pay. So instead of you having to pay for my GIA cert, I'm just going to give you my information for free. Make of it what you will. But in the meantime, let's dig in and have some fun. So when we talk about the 4c's of diamonds, what we're talking about is the carat, the clarity, the cut, and the color. And with these things, we're going to be able to measure how much a diamond is worth and what it should retail for, what it should sell for, what it should wholesale for. Now, the first and most important is, of course, carat, which is simply the size. Now, when we're talking about a carat, a 5 carat stone actually weighs exactly 1 gram. So if you have a 5 carat diamond, throw it on a normal gram scale, it'll weigh out exactly at 1. Now, we use carats on every kind of stone as a measurement, but that's strictly a weight. When you get into other stones besides diamonds, they have naturally different weights. So actually, if you have a topaz, it's a lighter stone, it's a lighter density than a diamond. So if you have a 10 carat diamond and a 10 carat topaz next to each other, they'll weigh the same, but the topaz will actually be larger than the diamond. The diamond weighs more. It goes back to that old joke about a ton worth of feathers or a ton worth of bricks, which one weighs more? Well, they weigh the same, they just take up a different amount of room. And by the way, we're just kind of doing this freestyle tonight. We've never really done this style. I want to try it. So if you got any questions, you got any comments, you got any cracks, jokes, limericks, whatever, send them to us. Go ahead, type them in the thing. We'll respond back. I've got something set up where I can read your comments live, and we'll answer questions live as we're going along. So the easiest way to figure out carat in what we do is an actual scale. So we take something loose, something beautiful like this. We're going to drop it on the scale, and you can see it's a 0.64 carat. When we talk about diamonds and we're talking about points, all that a point is the percentage, right? So if you have a 0.66 diamond, that's a 0.66 carat, or 2/3 of a carat. Now here's the funny thing is, when you talk about evaluating based on carat, it's not like most things in the world, where if you're buying 1 of one and 2 of the other, it doubles in price. No. When you start talking about diamonds, if you have a 1 carat of a certain color, quality, cut, and you move to the next step, which in this case would be a 1.5 carats, it doesn't double in price, it quadruples in price. The entire value of a diamond is based on the rarity, and the larger the diamond, the more rare it is. So every time you take that next step up from a 1/4 carat to a 1/2 carat to a 1 carat to a 1.5 carats to a 2 carat, it's not doubling in price, it's quadrupling in price. What I tell everybody is listen, if you want 10 carats worth of diamonds, Here we go. I got 10 carats worth of diamonds, right? Not a big deal. These kind of stones wholesale for anywhere between $100 and $250 a carat. Now, if you want to go out and buy a 10 carat diamond, we're going to have to fly to Amsterdam. We're going to have to go to the diamond market. We're going to have to make deals. And you're talking about, if you get any size of quality, really good stone, be looking upwards of $100,000. And I can tell you easily, I don't have $100,000 in this bag. I wish I did. I wouldn't be here. All right, so let's keep going on this. Now, the easiest way to measure a stone, obviously, is when it's loose. So the big question is once you'll hear people talk about, is approximating. So we're going to grab our little handy dandy tool. I love these things. This is just a little squeeze prong. But what it does is perfectly simulate when this diamond is sitting in a ring. So if it's sitting in a ring, how are we supposed to find out what it weighs? How big is the diamond? Here we go. We're going to do a little bit of math. We're going to do a little bit of calculus. Drives everybody nuts because I tell them I do math. I do algebra and calculus all day long. If I'd known I was going to do algebra and calculus all day long, I would have paid more attention in high school. But here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this stone and we're going to measure exactly the size of the diamond across both ways. So in this case, it's a 5.29 millimeter. Okay? And we're going to measure the other way around. And at the other side, it's going to be, it's falling. It's hang on. These are good. They're not great. But anyhow, we're also going to measure the depth. So we're going to do 5.29 by 5.29, and we're going to get in here and measure this by 3.5. Grab our handy dandy calculator. So what we're going to do is 5.29 times 5.29 times 3.5. Right? We're going to take that measurement against a known, pre-known set of parameters to figure out the value, the weight of that stone, which in this case in a round diamond is going to be 0.0061. So we're going to be able to look at that stone and know that it's approximately a 0.59. Now, you'll notice that that same stone, when we put it on the scale, was a 0.64. So we're not exactly doing everything perfect. We're just generally estimating to the best of our known abilities what size that stone is, right? And so if I can tell you with one of these it's a 0.6 and it actually weighs 0.64, I can tell you the approximate weight, not the exact weight. Now also, I'll let you know that for every different style, different cut of stone, and we'll get into those, you look at where there's a different number that you need to multiply it by. If you need more information, if you'd like more information about this, just go ahead and drop us a note. I'll write to you about what I know. And I've always joked that I'd love to see a high school somewhere, heck, a college, do the math and physics of pawnbroking. Because believe it or not, we mess with numbers all day long, doing preset parameters, doing, I call this a light version of calculus. It's actually really cool. All right. Well, that basically covers carat. I mean, that's should be the most simple of the C's, but it's also the most expensive. So we're going to move on to shapes. In this case, cut. Now, the most common one that you'll see is, of course, the round brilliant. Now, there are different cuts of round diamonds. Don't worry, we'll get into that. But the standard round brilliant diamond came around in the 1930s, 1940s, and everybody kind of looks at me like I'm from Mars when I tell them approximately how old a ring is by the cut of the diamond. Well, I know it's a modern diamond because of this certain cut and the different facets that are on the stone. And after you get a while to look through them, look at them, you don't even have to think twice. You know instantly it's a round brilliant diamond. So the round is going to be the most common and the most popular. Now, the nice thing about the rounds is, honestly, they stay in fashion. Doesn't matter from year to year. Right now, the marquise and the pairs are incredibly hot. About 10 years ago, princess cuts, I couldn't keep them on the shelf. Now the princess cuts aren't selling as well. Round diamonds are classic. They're true to their nature. They're every day. So if you want something just nice and simple and classy, a round diamond is probably going to be what you're looking for. Now, I did talk about a couple of other round forms, right? And I got some really good close-ups of these. So this bag here is going to be made up of Euro cuts and mine cuts. Now, when we're talking about a European cut, most of the time that was from anywhere between 1910 and the 1930s. And you can distinctly tell a European cut by looking down directly into the center of it. When you look directly into the center of it, what you'll see is a little, almost looks like a dot, a spot right in the middle of that stone. And what that is at the base of the culet, it's been cut off, and you can identify that as a European cut diamond. I have a really good example of that here. Right? If we can get close enough to it, we can actually tell you and try and show you that round spot right in the center. Okay? So you can kind of see it. It looks like a black dot here. But that spot right in the center is customary to a European cut diamond. Now, one thing I want you to note about this one is the flat top on the top of the diamond. And that's going to make a difference here real quick. But if you see on the bottom of that culet how it's cut flat, if I can hold still long enough, I think I need some coffee. That's what causes that spot, and that's what makes it so renowned, so knowable. Now, in this pile, I also have quite a few of what's known as old miner cuts. So, here we go. Here's a really good example of an old miner cut. The primary difference between an old miner cut and a European cut is the dome on the top. I'm going to let you get a closer look at it and kind of give you a sideways view on it, right? And on this sideways view, you see how much higher that top is. That's not the bottom of the diamond, that's the top of the diamond, right? So it almost looks like a ball. Now, the reason why it's called a miner cut is exactly that. It was cut at the mine. These were primarily produced between the 1880s up until the 1910s, when they started to take more time to cut. Instead of doing it at the mine, they would send it to people who, that's what they specialized in, that's what they did. But very cool stone. Now, one of the things to note about the mine cut is, even though it's a certain size, if we take this size around diamond in a miner cut versus a modern round brilliant cut, this diamond is going to be between 30 and 40% larger because there's so much meat on the bone on the top, right? So if we take this stone and we put it on the diamond, it's going to be on the scale, it's a 0.29. If you do the same round size on a European cut, it's a 0.21. Same size around, but the miner cut has actual more diamonds with it. So, very, very unusual, very cool. While we're at it, if I want to really talk about what I was talking about with the cutting the diamonds, that the diamond wheels were truly started to get introduced and really used with the European cut diamonds, and that allowed for more custom work, more specific, how do I say it, precision work. And if you've ever seen them work on a big diamond wheel, diamond cutting wheel, it's kind of a weird procedure, right? It looks like a big record player. And when you're working on this record player, everybody thinks you're working up and you're working left to right. You're not. You're working up and down. And you talk about cutting a diamond, cutting a facet in a diamond. Believe it or not, what you actually use to cut a facet of a diamond is diamonds. The more you use a diamond wheel, the more diamond dust gets on the wheel and in the grooves of the wheel, and better that wheel cuts better with the more diamonds that are cut on it. So you're using steel to sharpen steel and diamonds to sharpen diamonds, right? Kind of neat, huh? All right, so let's go on to the next cut, one of my favorites, the princess cut. And we got all kinds of sizes here. Now there is one strange variation in the princess cut. These are all going to be your modern standard princess cuts. But, so I'm going to let you get a really good close-up look on this one. Hang on. Okay. So you can look at the distinct facets of it. Get the sharp squares, the sharp corners. Man, I got to quit shaking, don't I? All right. So, now, but I got another one I want to show you. And just because this is such an odd cut, and you don't see it very often, at least I've never seen it very often, I think we have this one preloaded, the French cut. Okay. So this one here is a 80-point French cut, right? Very distinctive and very different. It puts more, the way that they cut the stone, it puts more emphasis on the corners of the stone and the lines in the stone than the modern princess cut does. So I kind of like it. I kind of think it's cool. Here we go. You know, now side by side, kind of hard to tell the difference, but when you really get in, you get a good close look at it. It speaks for itself. It really does kind of speak to you that it is different. It is not your standard princess cut. It's a French cut. So it's really kind of a cool piece. And anything odd, different, interesting, unusual, and cool, I absolutely love. So hang on, let's bag these up and we'll go on to the next one. What do we got? All right, so for the next one, we're going to do marquees. Marquees and pears have really come into fashion lately. And one of the things I wanted to show you about the marquees is the different styles, the different types, and mainly the different widths. All right, so I want to pull this one out, and I want to pull, where's that skinny one? There's that skinny one. All right, so we're going to show off a really good close-up of this one, which is kind of the wide marquee. Pardon me. So we got the wide marquee. Remember before when I was showing you the measuring tool, the micrometer, to figure out the length and the width and the depth? This is where that tool really comes in handy, because those three variations can be radically different. So when you have this fatter marquee, it changes the light. And I know you all have heard me talk about light running through diamonds, lights running through stones. It changes the way that light refracts through the diamonds. And when they're skinny, same thing happens. It changes it. Honestly, when we kind of go to the middle, where that other marquee is, that center marquee, where it's a perfectly proportioned 1 to 1.5 portioned marquee, that's truly what everybody looks at like as a marquee, a real good marquee, because the refraction of the light through the diamond looks the best. But very, very cool. So we take a stone like this, and we got a 1.06 diamond. Kind of neat, right? And that's that fat marquee. If we take something about the same size but a little skinnier, you're looking at a 1. So, kind of neat. All right, let's move on. All right, the next bag is, we got some custom cuts. Let's check them out. Now, the reason why I put all these in one is it's a lot harder to separate these out because they're such. I don't nearly see as many of them, right? So we got a nice little oval. We got a nice little pair. Hang on, we'll grab these real quick. Show these off. Pairs have really come back into fashion. I personally love them. We always joke about keeping up with the Kardashians. Well, part of the reason why we actually keep up with the Kardashians, at least I do personally, is that I want to see what wedding rings they're going to get next. Because whatever wedding ring the last Kardashian got married with is going to be the next diamond fashion, and trust me, it is. And the last one that got married was a pink, natural pink pair. And those have absolutely exploded. No, I do not have any naturally pink pair of diamonds right now. Trust me, they'd fly out of the door. But love the color on these. Love the cut. Again, the way it refracts the light, absolutely gorgeous. These are just incredible to look at. They're fun to play with. And the nice thing is they go in so many different settings, and you can use them in places of rounds or marquees or darn near anything, because it flows very well naturally with different shape, different swirl rings. It's kind of hard to have a ring that features a round diamond and swap it out with a marquee. A lot of times that doesn't work, but you move it to a pair, you actually can. The next one is going to be our little oval. And this one here is a pretty little just half carat oval. Something very simple, very easy, but very bright. Good colors on these stones. So, and then the last one here, trillions. Okay, I don't know if this thing's going to work to pick up a trillion, but I'm going to try. Okay, cool. Trillions are kind of a new thing. These really hit the market big about 5 to 10 years ago. The fun thing about the trillions is how you can work them all together and set them in such a way that they look so much larger. You can set 2 of them next to each other. It looks like a big marquee. Put 3 in together, and all of a sudden it starts looking like a big pie-shaped round. Trillions are very fun. They're good accessories. So yeah, this is the triangle. All right, while we're at it, let's discuss some of the other fancy cuts. I don't have any of them here. I have seen diamonds shaped like hearts, cut like stars. Actually, even seen one that was cut like a horse's head. I swear, you cannot make these things up. I have no idea how that actual lapidary cut it, but it was absolutely incredible work, and it was ferociously expensive, if that makes sense. I'm gonna leave this little bag till later, and then the last style that I wanted to talk about was baguettes. Now, I don't traditionally see many large baguettes. Baguettes are rarely the centerpiece in a diamond or in a ring. So for the most part, baguettes are accessory stones, right? So they're a lot smaller. We do get some larger ones in here, and at Glorias we do. But voila, there we go. The one thing about baguettes is, from a wholesaling perspective, they're incredibly cheap. When you're buying and selling baguettes to large manufacturers, they're not worth anything. The unfortunate thing is that if you lose a baguette and go to a jewelry store to get it replaced, it's incredibly expensive. And the reason is there's so many different sizes and variations that you need to be so specific with it that if they have to order one specific marquee, it's stupid expensive, right? So, my suggestion, if you need something, if you need something repaired, before you get a quote on just the stone from the jeweler, come see somebody like me. Come see somebody like me that deals in used goods, because these stones to us are so much cheaper than everything else that we can cut you an incredible deal and find you your perfect stone. for nothing compared to what the jeweler has to pay. And I'm not blaming jewelers for charging more for specifically ordering sized baguettes. It costs them that much more. It's very expensive to sit down and order a specific sized baguette. Well, we might have one and be able to save you and him a fortune. So it's really kind of a cool thing. All right, let's get on to the next one. The next C is clarity. Now, clarity is all the way from, on a scale, it starts at I3. Now, I3, and all that the I means is included. So included times 3. Well, I3s can be gashes, can be feathers, spots of carbon. Anything that is visible to the eye is classifiable on the eye market. So I3 means that it has more than 3 or more identifiable inclusions with the naked eye. So basically, if you can pick this up and just look at this stone and see 3 spots in it, guess what? It's an I3. You don't even really need a loop to look at it, and voila. As you move on to the next step, it's an I2. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to see 2 spots. It's simply a grade. Now, a lot of y'all are probably asking me the same question right now. Well, how do you know the difference between an I3, I2, I1? A lot of it is practice. A lot of it is simply looking at a lot of stones and getting a feel for what clarity a diamond is, what it looks like on the inside. If you can see anything with a naked eye on a stone, it's automatically going to be classified as an I stone, either a 1, 2, or 3. It's just the number of them in the stone that you can see with the naked eye as to what it's going to be. Now, the primary people who grade diamonds are the GIA folks I was talking about, the Gemological Institute of America. And even they have arguments, disagree about certain clarities, and they've been doing this for years. Some of them many more years than I have, with thousands more stones. So even they have an appeal process. So if you send in a stone to get graded and they say it's an I2 and you think it's an I1, you can send it back in an appeal. And I've seen them change their grades from an I1 to an I2, because it really all depends on who's looking at the stone and what their personal belief and personal experience is with that stone. So the next step in from the I's is the SI's. Exactly what you think it is. Slightly included. Not included, just slightly included. So you're going to see a lot better stones, and you're going to see SI1 and SI2. There is a grade called SI3. Okay. There is not a grade of SI3. I've heard SI3 tossed around in conversation, and it's a joke. It's one of those stones that's so borderline you don't know whether or not you want to classify it as an I1 or an SI2. So we'll just jokingly refer to it as an SI3. Now, if you look at on any diamond chart in the world, you won't see an SI3. You'll see SI2 or an I1. So if somebody says it's an SI3, they're trying to tell you a joke, right? For the most part, it depends on how they grade and where they're like. So this one here would be classified as an SI2, right? Maybe I can get you a better view on this one, right? So the problem with filming and showing diamonds is it's so hard to get in really good close-ups. But you see how with the naked eye you really can't see anything. It looks like an exceedingly clear stone. But if you get in there with a loupe and you take a really good look at it, it does have 2 specks in it that you can see with just a standard 10 power loupe, right? So something like this, the SI2, the SI1 stones, for a lot of folks, allows for you to have something that is Very affordable, but still good. Now, it's not going to pass a jeweler's test. It's not going to pass a loop test, but it is going to pass most people's tests. All right, so the next step from that up in clarity is a VS stone. Very slightly included stone. Same thing, VS1, VS2, VS3. Yes, there is a VS3. And the reason is that they do need some of that margin error where you're talking about a feather which is barely visible by the loop. And it's you want a VS1. The VS1 stones we do see occasionally. I believe I have one or two here that are just really good quality, really good color. Now, I will let you know that VS is as high as I will grade a stone. And I will tell you why here in a second, but see if I can get you a really good look at this one. And if you look internally on this stone, see how good that is? Just absolutely crystal clear. Really good quality on this stone. Now, it's not a big stone, but it really has just fire and flare and clean and nothing truly visible. All right, now the reason why I personally will not say anything is higher than VS1 is the next scale is VVS1. Very, very slightly included. Yeah, I know, who makes these names up? But on a VVS1, the only way that you can tell the difference between a VS1 and a VVS1 is the use of up to a 40 power microscope. Unfortunately, I do not run into the differences enough between a VVS and a VS stone that, I mean, occasionally we'll see them, and I will have to run out and borrow somebody's microscope, but it happens so infrequently that a VS stone, if I say it's a VS stone, it means it's an incredibly clean stone with a 10 power loop. I truly can't see anything, but I'm not willing to grade it any higher than that without running out and either sending it to GIA and get a certification or running out and borrowing somebody's microscope to get in a 40 power to see if there's any microscopic spots, pieces of carbon, feathers, miscuts, anything in there. The last stone, the final stone, the best stone you can get, give me one moment, it's going to be classified as an IF, internally flawless. Now, I will straight up tell you, if you are not buying a diamond from Tiffany, Harry Winston, Beverly Hills, those level jewelers, you will not find an internally flawless diamond. Internally flawless diamonds represent 0.0001% of the market, right? I3s represent anywhere between 90 and 95% of the market. So when you go all the way to an internally flawless, 0.0001% of all diamonds made are internally flawless. If somebody tells you it's an internally flawless stone, ask them for a certification, ask them for a GIA cert, because if it's not certified, they're so few and far between, they're hard to find. All right, let's go on to the next one. So the last C is color. Now, the reason I save color for last is because I personally find it's the most important, right? And the reason is that what's the first thing that you see when you look at a diamond? It's the color, right? You absolutely can know what a color of something is, right? So we're going back to the first bag, and we're going to dump this out. And just looking down at this, you can instantly tell which stones have a little color to them and which ones look the best. So we got this one here, which is going to be a little yellow. And we're going to have this one here, which is going to be a little bit more brown, same as this one. But we're going to be able to get to stones like this one, which are going to have a phenomenal color. And we can literally sit down and grade through them. Now, the best grade of color in diamonds starts at D, and they're grouped in 3 colors each. So D, E, and F, which is near colorless. So real quick, let me show you a cheat sheet. Yes, there's always cheat sheets to everything. So this is our master set, and what you can look at is, as you open this up, these are CZs. These are not real diamonds. Trust me, I wish they were real. They're going to give you perfect color examples of all the diamonds. So the first grouping of diamonds is DEF. These are near colorless. Colorless. The next group is G, H, and I. So if you have a G, H, or I stone, it's going to be near colorless. Now they're slightly different, but fairly close. Now when you get into the K, you can really, really tell the difference, because you're going to start getting into a faint yellow, right? And the M, you're going to start getting into more of a darker brown, right? Now anything past M is just going to be classified as either a brown diamond or a yellow diamond. Now once you start getting into some of the fancy yellows, those actually on that same scale are classified as Z's. And I have actually had canary yellow diamonds get certified as fancy yellow. Now this one here is it's not quite a bright yellow canary, but it is definitely a cool piece. Hang on. And I really like the canary yellow ones. They're just neat. You're also going to run into some of the champagne ones. Those are going to be very close to this one, but you can distinctly tell that yellowish tint and that yellowish color. And at that point, it becomes the designer of the ring, of how they use that color and how appropriate it is. So when we're looking at all these diamonds and finding good color, if you look at a ring and see one ring that's really yellow and one ring that's brown and one ring that's white, it doesn't work together. As long as they're all in concert together, that's primarily what's most important. The bright white diamonds and the bright yellow diamonds can work really well together. So, if y'all have any questions, you got any comments, jokes, whatever, hit me with it. Real quick, I'm going to cover one last style of diamond, and it's a treated diamond, all right? So we got some cool close-up of these. I have seen treated diamonds, and for the most part, they come out as either a fancy blue or a bright yellow canary. And they almost have that, the blue looks like a dark topaz, but it keeps the cool sheen of a diamond. Now, for the most part, when they treat, or why they treat diamonds like this, is because it has a very bad color or very bad quality to begin with. So they're not sacrificing a really good stone to get this neat color. They're sacrificing a stone for something that you can design, make, and retail for something that's really cool. Same as the yellows. Most likely those are very brown or very slightly yellow, but not canary yellow. So when they enhance them, now, boom, they pop that canary yellow. And it makes for putting them in rings, watches, earrings, some very interesting, unusual, unique designs. Just something cool, something that about 10 years ago was popping up everywhere, but they were very fun, very neat. And we still see them occasionally. Jewelers love it when we get them because they're very hard to order. So when we get them in, jewelers usually snap them up pretty quick just to be able to fix stuff that has had 5 years of abuse or 10 years of wear. All right. Real quick, I want to address one last thing. Is the new style of diamonds that's coming out, and there's 2 brand new synthetic diamonds. And when I say synthetic, I don't mean they're not diamonds. They're diamonds. They're actually diamonds, but they're lab created. So they're grown in New Jersey, right? And the 2 styles are CVD, which is carbon vapor diamond, and HPHT, high pressure, high temperature diamonds. This is kind of a new thing that's on the market. It's a couple years old. but it really hasn't filtered out anywhere. Being able to tell the difference between a CVD, HPHT, and a naturally mined diamond is very difficult. And right now, I can tell you there's only one tester in this county at all, and it's ours. So we are keeping ahead of this. We're keeping abreast of this. We're going to check what happens to the market, and we will be proud to sell them if we have them. But we're going to tell you what they are. If somebody won't tell you that it's a HPHT or a CVD diamond, question more what he's doing. Well, I think I've that's a fairly decent intermediary course. There's more that I could talk about, of course, but y'all have things to do, and so do I. But I hope you had fun. Once again, I want to leave with a caveat of I am not a certified jeweler or gemologist. This is strictly my interpretation, my knowledge, my base, my everything. So take it with a grain of salt. Learn what you want. Keep learning. Learn from other sources. Learn from other people. This is just a baseline of information that use if you will, and I hope it helps you out. In the meantime, since I've got you, I got your attention. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page and sign up for our $50 Visa gift card. We're giving it away. All you have to do is like and share that post, and when you're done, put shared in the comments, because otherwise I won't know you did it. And it's to promote our live auction that's going on right now. Live auction's going on at the Bid Mayo. So the website should be on the bottom of the screen, www.bidmayo, and look for the coins in the jewelry auction, and go on there because there's some phenomenal deals. Trust me, there's real diamond, real gold, have true appraisals with these pieces for hundreds of dollars, and currently the bid's at $16. So go on there, and you're going to be able to find some really cool stuff. There are no reserve auctions. Get on there, help me out, buy something you love, and possibly win this $50 gift card. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I know I went on a little bit, but we're going to try and incorporate a few more style of talks like this, and let us know if you liked it, if you didn't, what we can do different. And so in the meantime, thank you for joining us, and see you.